Hello everyone. Even though a significant series antagonist was ultimately eliminated in Rick and Morty Season 7, Episode 5, the program did not waste any time in teasing Rick's next big possible error. The revelation of Rick's terrible past in Rick and Morty Season 5, Episode 10, Rickmurai Jack, was tragic for two reasons. It goes without saying that Rick Prime was incredibly brutal in killing Rick C-137's family. It was as sad, though, that Rick lost his humanity in the process of dedicating his entire life to tracking down and killing his archenemy, a futile mission. Along with losing his family, Rick also lost all motivation for anything other than exacting brutal retribution on Rick Prime. Therefore, it was unexpected, rather than a relief, that Rick Prime passed away in Rick and Morty Season 7 Episode 5. Rick C-137's existence was characterized by his relentless pursuit of Rick Prime, which left him feeling only numb upon evil Morty handing him his adversary and Rick C-137 beating him to death. Regretfully, Rick's tendency toward conceit may cause him to respond negatively to this setback. Given Rick C-137's troubling past of self-destructive endeavors, evil Morty issued the antihero an ultimatum at the end of Season 7, Episode 5, Unmortrican, which the antihero might take as a challenge. At the conclusion of Unmortrican, evil Morty made it apparent that he didn't regret Rick C-137, but he did sternly warn him and Morty against pursuing him because it wouldn't work out well for them. After reading this remark, Rick's next revenge mission looks all but certain because the character isn't going to take that challenge lightly. Since the Rick Prime plot on Rick and Morty is concluded, Rick's biggest foe is his own arrogance. Because evil Morty's intervention allowed him to get all he wanted, pursuing evil Morty once more would only lead to arrogant self-destruction. This increases the likelihood even more in light of Rick's past. Rick has a terrible tendency to behave against his own interests. Something Jerry, Morty, and the other characters on the show have pointed out on occasion. Even though Rick is a genius, his unwillingness to let go of things has nearly killed him in the past and could do so again. It was understandable for Rick C-137 to want to spend the rest of his life pursuing the person who killed his wife in the instance of Rick Prime killing her. But now that the murderer of Diane is no longer alive, Rick C-137 has no reason, aside from his own dangerous arrogance, to go looking for evil Morty. In the 5th episode of Rick and Morty, Rick defeats Rick Prime. The Rick and Morty Season 7 Episode 5 post-credits scene demonstrated that the show's protagonist may have had a far better life if he had given up on his desire for vengeance years earlier. As a result, Rick may decide to use this concept in Season 7. There have been several indications that Rick would eventually transform into a more heroic version of himself. He created a more perceptive clone of himself in Season 6, Episode 9, A Rick and King Mortar's Mort. And in Season 6, Episode 6, he demonstrated his willingness to give his life in order to preserve the dinosaurs. Rick Prime tries to make him believe he's not as evil as he is, but he's not. Therefore, in Season 7, Rick C-137 could put his grudge against evil Morty behind and move on with his life. Evil Morty, despite his increasingly false nickname, assisted Rick C-137 in trapping and killing Rick Prime. Therefore, Rick C-137 cannot claim to despise him. Although Rick and Morty Season 7 seemed to set up a sinister Smith family surprise involving Rick, it now appears that evil Morty is providing Rick with a chance to choose a lighter decision. Now that he is free of his revenge quest, the question is whether he can enjoy life or if he will go for evil Morty to destroy him personally. Since evil Morty has no desire in fighting Rick, unlike his predecessor Rick Prime, he is the perfect adversary for Rick C-137. Dan Harmon, one of the series' co-creators, expressed his desire for more episodic, standalone adventures in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter conducted before to the premiere of Season 7. These kinds of adventures filled the first few seasons of Rick and Morty. If only Rick could learn to swallow his pride and stop bothering evil Morty, the show could now concentrate on these lighter, more whimsical tales. The post-credits scenes from Rick and Morty Season 7 demonstrate how ridiculous the program can be, but only if Rick and Morty's protagonist sacrifices his pride.